Welcome to another episode of the official 6gc.net podcast. I'm your host, Manny, a.k.a. Pressure 2, here with my boy, Dustin, a.k.a. Batman722. How's it going, Dustin? How you been, man?
Pretty good, Manny. How you doing tonight?
Good, man. Good. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties tonight, but we're getting through them.
Things are all fucked up.
Yeah, well, shit happens, man.
But you know what? We're gonna fucking carry on. We're gonna fucking just plow right through this.
Press on. So we're gonna have a couple guests on. First off, we're gonna have B Samps.
Yep.
His name is Ben. The Green Machine, as it's known.
Machine.
Kid's done a lot of work to his car. He works real hard at it, Dustin. So
he's done a ton of things.
He wants to be on the show.
It's impressive.
Let's do it.
So I'm gonna give him a call right now. I'm gonna use my phone.
Yeah, we're gonna rock it.
Technical term is a phone.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be calling. We're gonna get him on the broadcast. Hopefully, he'll pick up and everything will be happy and fun.
Yeah.
This guy's done a lot of shit to his car. Man.
Yep.
You know, it's impressive.
Definitely.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, how's it going, Ben? This is Manny.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, Manny, this is Dustin. How are you?
What's going on? Dustin, I actually have your number, man. I've talked to you before.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
No shit. So, just real quick. So I've we've talked before about things.
You what now?
What have we talked about before?
No, I've actually shipped you a couple things, I believe. I had to call you for some reason, something or other.
You know what? Because this guy's a good guy, and that's just what it is, you know. So anyway.
So Ben, why don't you tell us a little bit about your Green Machine? Give us a little bit of details, man.
Yeah, what have you done?
A little bit of details, man. It's really hard to know where to start, honestly.
Well, tell us first off, how long have you had your Celica? What year, make, model, and
why'd you buy it?
Well, it's a 94 Celica GT. I've had it for going on 3 years now, and the reason that I got it is because a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, actually had a SD 185 all-track right-hand drive. There's a JDM edition that he let me drive a really, really long time ago. And my buddy John actually owned the car that I own now before me, and I always really admired it. And I owned Integras at the time, and so I was just, I was kind of caught up in that whole scene and whatnot. And I just decided, when he put it up for sale, that I'd go ahead and pick it up from him. And I did. I loved everything about it. I actually bought it with a blown clutch.
No shit.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, you have a third-gen swap in that?
Yeah.
Cool, very cool. Yeah, we were looking at your build thread earlier.
When you saw that in 2011, is it? From what I saw, it was January 2011. You started that little project thread.
Yeah. It's become a pretty big project now, man.
Yeah, dude, it's like 30-something pages. I kind of refresh my memory with it because I check back every so often. But I went through all 30-something, 31 pages today. Damn, you've done a lot of shit, man. A lot of stuff, more than I thought.
Yeah.
And, so when you bought your engine, what made you want to rebuild it?
Well, maybe I figured I got to get a front clip because I wanted to make sure that I had just about everything that I needed to get started. And with the front clip, there's a lot of things that you don't necessarily need that other people may or may not need. So a good basis for having a front clip in the first place is you can actually make a lot of your money back just by selling off some of the parts that somebody else may or may not need.
And that's where I think...
what really spun, the whole build was they sent the front clip to me without a tachometer in it. They promised it was under 30,000 miles, so on and so forth, but I'm not going to just, take anybody's word for it. And so I wanted to open the engine up, and I figured if I'm going to go that far, I might as well go that far. So I decided, take everything out and replace it with something better because I wanted to last.
Yeah, well, we've all seen the pictures. You tore it down, you rebuilt it totally. You cleaned everything. You refilled like
Yeah,
a motherfucker.
really
You
good
did a
job,
great
man.
job.
Looked real good.
It looked fantastic, dude. It looked, going back and looking through it, because this is like, 2 years ago, year and a half ago, I was kind of, when I first saw it, going through it, you done a pretty good job. It was pretty impressive. And I think I might, it's like you probably have my number from before, because I think I might have bought something off your clip from you. I think most likely.
That's probably what it was.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff that I didn't end up using.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, funny how things gonna come back around like that, because everybody needs parts, and that's pretty fucking cool. So, how do you like your car now? You're all swapped. Are you almost done?
I don't think there's no point in time where you can say you're completely done. I've actually been talking with ATS here recently. I'm working on something pretty big for it. Planning on doing a nice ram horn manifold with GT3071R, full tune, upgrading the injectors.
Really?
Yeah, the whole nine. I'm looking for about 400 horse daily driven, just for shits and giggles.
Are you thinking about Mega Squirt?
No. I was actually going to do the Power FC.
Really?
Okay, yep,
Really?
yep. I actually got to play with a Power FC recently. I didn't really do any tuning or anything. I just plugged it in to make sure it worked. But just looking at it on the surface, it looked pretty cool, and looks like it'll do the job.
I hope it does. I mean, if it doesn't, I'm going to have to explore different options. But, I guess, it's a learning process every step you go. And so it's just the sort of thing where if it doesn't meet the needs, I'm going to have to find something new. But
well, I'll tell you, we had a previous episode about 3/4 of the way already taped with Art earlier, Lagos, and he recently did the MS plug and play, and he's raving about it, man. I'll tell you, for the money that it costs, it sounds like a really, really, really nice option. It's got all the full features of a complete EMS at like a third of the price.
Yeah. I actually read his thread about that, and I was actually really impressed by it. Since he had to solder everything together by himself and then troubleshoot it without really, too much to go on. So I'm actually really impressed, and I keep in touch with that thread just to see any kind of updates.
Well, we will have Art on, on one of the podcasts. We actually kind of had him on tonight, but we had some difficulties. Stuff was crashing on us. But honestly, let me tell you, it's like the stuff he had to say about the Mega Squirt, about the MS. It was like I learned some stuff with it.
Very impressive, dude.
Yeah,
very impressive.
Dude, it was like it was something that I would consider doing to my car.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I know he bought the unassembled version, so it was actually even cheaper. It was like around $500.
Yeah,
he
$500
said.
He
But
put
even
all
if you were to
together,
buy
soldered.
the pre-assembled version, which I think is around $800, he said,
so.
it's still like less than half the cost of the nearest comparable.
The Power FC and all that. And
the Power FC don't have nearly the options that that gives you. The Mega Squirt gives you like Motec style.
Everything
control.
Possible. So I really have to recommend that you talk to Art or PM him, talk to him about it, because he's wicked big on it, and he's got information like you wouldn't believe, and we are going to get him back in the podcast sometime. So Ben, let me ask you.
Absolutely.
You've rebuilt your engine. You've done a whole bunch of mods to your 3S, that you had in like a car, and you think about doing some stuff in the future. You just did coilovers recently and GT4 brakes. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. I did full V2 coilovers, and I actually was able to fit the actually GT4 brakes without having to put any kind of spacer on it whatsoever.
Nice. You have to have a good offset on your wheels. That's why.
Cool. How do you like those brakes? How do they compare to the stock setup?
They're insane. About the first time that I used them, it had been raining, and I put them on, and I got to go and test them out, so on and so forth. So I go down the street with them and end up locking up the brakes 3 times, just pushing the pedal like I normally would with the old setup, and so it got a little sketchy. But I've finally gotten the chance to get used to them now, and they'll still put your they'll hurt you. They really will hurt you if you really get into them.
See, way back I put GT4 brakes on my 205 swap, and I gotta tell you, the difference between GT brakes and the 205 brakes was like night and day. Like,
It really is.
I would, take off and I would, try to stop hard with my GT brakes, and I'd get like that heat soak, not heat soak, but like that brake fade. I'd get brake fade, where it didn't really stop the car that well. It heated them up like crazy. The 205 brakes on, it would stop the car. Woo! It was like unbelievable, dude. So I kind of hear where you're coming from.
It's insane.
It is
Cool,
It's,
very cool.
It's a huge upgrade.
So, out of all the different things you've done to the car so far, Ben, what would you say has been your best bang for the buck? For the money that you've spent on a certain mod, what was your best one?
I mean, if we're talking mods, I mean, this thing came with the 5S. The best thing that I've ever done to it was put a 3SGT into it. But I mean, I guess if I had to pick a mod that I've done to that, I've driven a bone stock 3SGT, and I know how it feels, I know how it handles, and I know how the ECU responds. But I'd have to say that the rebuild was honestly the way to go. And to give credit to my machine shop, I mean, the full balance, everything like that. I mean, it runs butter.
Dude, it looks great. It looks fantastic in the picture. I checked it out, and like my wife has rebuilt some engines, and even she was kind of impressed with the detail what you kind of went into with a few things. Now, looking at your thread, you actually do a little welding. Is that right?
Yeah, I do a little welding.
Yeah, I'd say more than a little.
That's cool, man.
It was pretty impressive.
I've been getting into
weld.
I do a little bit of welding. I'm not really great at it, but I'm still very much a noob when it comes to welding. But
got some TIG on there.
Yeah,
Nice.
TIGging is
nice.
definitely where it's at, and I noticed that you TIGged up your exhaust. And why don't you give us a little bit of details about your rig?
Yeah, what do you got?
I couldn't hear you just then.
Sorry, I said I was just kind of impressed by your welding skills and stuff, and I was asking you if you could give us a little bit of details of your welding rig.
About your setup.
Honestly, man, it's a Miller 110, Miller TIG 110. I'm running it off of 220.
No
Oh,
kidding.
shit.
Cool. I actually I bought a Chinese machine. It's called an Everlast. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but
Yeah, I have.
I'll tell you, for what I've done with it so far, I mean, like I say, I'm just a beginner, but for the money I paid for it, it works beautifully, and I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun.
You can't go wrong with the big welder. I mean, a big welder is where it's at for just about any kind of everyday use, so on and so forth. But
I hear you.
if you got a TIG at your disposal, I mean, the possibilities are endless. They really are.
Agreed.
Well,
There's the ability just to be able to weld stainless. I mean, stainless is just such a good medium for anything to weld. It flows really nice. It feeds up really well. It's just very easy to work with. I'm still trying to master aluminum. I mean, I did all my intake piping, and I kind of want to redo it just because my beads aren't so great. But
Yep. Yeah, I'll tell you.
trying to find a way to make it more efficient.
Yep, I did some piping for a member on the board, some intake piping in aluminum for Ted 95. His name's Cameron, and
Yeah, I talked to Cam.
yeah, he's a good guy.
He's a good kid, and he bought a couple of those cheap eBay aluminum piping kits, and I'll tell you, man, that stuff was difficult to weld. It was just horrible metal. But once you got a bead going and got it running, it was okay. But like you say, it's aluminum is a lot more difficult than welding steel, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it has to stay hot. It cools down so fast after the bead that it's really hard just to keep a line on it. So I totally know where you're coming from on
Yeah,
that.
it definitely takes a lot of practice.
A recommendation of mine is to use siliconindex.com. The metal that I got from them was great. It really was, through and through. If you ask for aluminum, they're going to send you straight up aluminum, even with the polish finish. It doesn't crack, it doesn't pop, anything like that. I'm not sure. Were you using gas when you did his?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yep.